I'm giving my Instagram a minute to catch up here. And then we have a fun reading for today. We're actually going to be talking about the God jar and God box. She calls it God box. Mine's actually a jar. There we go. All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. Oh, you can see all the junk sitting on my printer because where else do you put it, right? So there we are. We'll adjust your view. And excuse the outfit, but it's grandma day today. And if I'm going to be sitting on the floor and who knows what else, I need to be comfortable. So there we are. So we're earlier than usual also because I need to hit the road. And I'm kind of wondering how things will be around Green Bay since they were up to their eyeballs in water the other day. So we shall see. Yeah, let's get started. Happy Friday. Let's start with some tapping and some breath, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose. Hold, out through the mouth. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. You're finding me even extra early. That's good. That's good. That's good. So we have a lovely reading today from Tosha Silver, and it's about the God box. So every once in a while, and plus, I don't think we've talked about this since I began going live on all platforms instead of just my Facebook. So opportunity for more people to learn about the God jar. God box, whichever you have. We'll talk about that. So, Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Take the Lead by Tosha Silver. I advise my coaching clients to turn this into a second Bible. It's very helpful in terms of guiding one to having a much more satisfying, gratifying life. You are an early bird too, me as well. 3 p.m. I start turning into a pumpkin. So, yeah, I often would tell clients when I was working long days as a psychologist, I often would tell clients after 3 o'clock, I'm not guaranteeing anything we do. So they'd laugh. They thought that was funny, but they wanted to come after work. So there you are. So for those of you who like to follow along with where I'm at in the book, it's chapter 4. And the title for the entire chapter is Following the Inner Lead. And then this particular section, talking about the God box, is Think Inside the Box. So, and I'll actually show you mine in a moment. Good morning, Barb. Welcome. Glad you are here. We have Tosha today, and we're on page 47. Page 47. For those who like to follow along. So, take a breath. Let it go. Think inside the box. And as always, there's 2 quotes at the beginning, which I think means it's going to be an extra good chapter. Bidden or unbidden, God is present. And that was Carl Jung. And a problem cannot be solved by the same level of consciousness that created it. Albert Einstein. And I think that one is very evident these days. We can't fix the problems with the same capacity that created them in the first place. We have to level up. We have to level up. So that is actually what's happening right now is the up leveling, and it can be a messy process, just like any other up leveling. When you're transforming from caterpillar to butterfly, it's a messy process. So we'll endure the mess to come out the other side with much better skills and abilities and gifts than we have available to us in the moment. So take a breath, let it go. Here's Tosha. I grew up a perpetual worrier, perhaps from having a sensitive Pisces mother who always anticipated the next disaster, or from being an East Coast Jew. In any case, by the time I turned 25, I was literally making myself sick with fear. To survive myself, I had to change. That's bad when you have to try to survive yourself, right? One of the first techniques I learned was the God box. You simply write down your worries and pop them into some kind of container, as simple or as elegant as you wish. So here's mine. It's just a little jar little folded pieces of paper in there, all the things I'm currently worrying about or are unresolved and I have no idea how they're going to be resolved. Stick them in there, let them be. There they are. That's all that's required. She says, whenever a new worry comes up, into the box it goes. You don't even need a clear concept of God to do this. You could make the offering to your own highest wisdom or to the force that keeps the birds aloft in the sky. Doesn't matter. Sounds simplistic, but honestly, it works. And I have taught this to hundreds of people in the interim from the time I read this book first to now. And I can't think of one person who said, well, that didn't work for me. It's a very effective tool. Sounds simplistic, but honestly, it works. If the problem torments you again, you remember it's in the box. It's done. I've turned it over. This is the same concept as Alcoholics Anonymous turning it over. There, Gwen's testimonial. The God box does help. Yes, yes, yes. Turning it over, letting go of the idea that our limited human brain can fix and solve everything compared to divine energy, divine right timing, divine right order. Allow that to work for you. Basically, what I think the God box or the God jar is doing is getting us out of the way. So we're not mucking around in it, trying to figure out the how, when how is not our problem. We are to focus on why, capital W, why. When we make our why big enough, how takes care of itself. The universe takes care of the how. God takes care of the how. All right. You can also add as many other problems as you wish. Because studies show the mind recalibrates in 21 days, try to reliably submit a particular worry for at least that long. I've gotten to the point now. Good morning. Glad you're here. Welcome. I've gotten to the point now where I just throw it in there. I don't feel like I need to do the rehearsal of 21 days anymore. I've seen how well this works. I have faith and trust that it works. Put the stuff in there and let it perk. Let it perk. During the period of offering, solutions often spontaneously arise. Here's the secret. This next line is actually absolutely the secret. When the mind is no longer grasping for an answer, space opens. When a mind is no longer grasping for an answer, space opens. Again, we get out of the way. We get out of the way and we allow it to work. The box gives room for a divine plan, even in impossible messes. And in fact, eloquent plans, things we couldn't have conceived of in the first place. After the fact, we look back and we go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But on the front end of it, that wasn't even on the horizon. We couldn't even see that as a particular option. Things seemingly come out of nowhere to resolve the problems. One of the ways that I say it, and especially when I'm working with people who have money issues, debt up to the eyeballs, right? You know, $40,000 in credit card debt, blah, 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 whatever it is. I often say to them, you take a step forward on this and the universe will meet you in spades. So you take a step, the universe takes 10 steps. And you can't predict. So I'll give you one that I worked with had $36,000 in credit card debt and had no idea how that was ever going to be paid off. Thought the only option was going to be bankruptcy. Well, we did my little plan, what I typically do with people in that regard. And then I said, and put it in a God jar or a God box. Let it go. Do the plan. Work your plan. Plan your work your plan. And what always happens is the universe begins to respond. And sometimes it's not predictable stuff. So this particular person, all of this stuff was hitting the fan during COVID. What happened during COVID? We got COVID checks, right? We talked about applying those to the balance. Those little boosts really helped turn things around and get that credit card debt taken care of. Had a friend and his wife who were in significant debt because of their education regarding their careers. They set up a 5-year plan for paying themselves out of debt. And within 18 months, they were out of debt because of these kinds of things. Stuff that comes up that they had no inkling of when they set up their plan. Set up the plan, work the plan, have your eyes open for additional options coming your way, because they will. Tosha says, I first used the box when I was crazily looking for a new apartment one summer. Friends kept helpfully reminding me that the vacancy rate in the Bay Area was at an all-time low of 3%, and the odds of finding a decent, affordable place were next to nil. But the teacher who had suggested the box insisted, and I love this next part, odds and percentages didn't matter one whit. What matters is the offering. Odds and percentages don't matter. What matters is the offering. Put it up, turn it over. With a sense of bemused curiosity, I scrawled my first note and slipped it in. I am now being guided to the right apartment at the right time. It's already handled. Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that sound good? Within a month, my veterinarian asked offhandedly as she checked my kitten for ear mites, you still need a spot, right? I know one. She was right. 15 years later, I'm still there. After a while, you start trusting the process. Yes, which again is why I feel like I'm to the place where I don't need to reiterate for 21 days. My brain trusts that, yeah, this has worked every other time. It's going to work for all this stuff as well. And working doesn't mean I get my way. Working means it unfolds in what's best for all. It's for the highest and best good. However this unfolds, I trust that it's for the highest and best good. Okay? After a while, you start trusting the process. You realize the details of the solution are irrelevant, since those will be revealed and those will be taken care of. You're not responsible for the how, right? What matters is offering the problem over with a sincere, consistent heart and opening your eyes to potential possible interventions, possible outcomes. Paths again open when you're ready to see them. The box is also a perfect complement to divine order, allowing you to have a sacred place to store your prayers and statements if you wish that. For some practical-minded people, having a concrete spot really helps. So what do you have to lose but anxiety? So my call to action is, if you don't have a God box already or a God jar, make one. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be an old butter container. It can be an empty Kleenex box, whatever you have available, a dish. Use that as your God box. Load it up with some slips of paper and a writing instrument. Have them handy. So as you come up with things, you just, oh yeah, throw that one in there. What I found also, because when I let it go, I'm letting it go. Sometimes there'll be the same thing in the box 3 or 4 times because I've forgotten I've already put it in there. Doesn't really matter. The work is still happening. Then what do you do with it as it starts getting full? Maybe twice a year, I go through and I look at them all and I go, yep, this one's still perking. Back in the jar it goes. Or, oh, that one's done. That one's done. Oh, I didn't even remember that being an issue. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well worth trying this tool. It's such a good tool. So have an awesome Friday. I will see you again tomorrow. Hopefully I can regale you with Scarlet stories, because that's a grandma prerogative. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. So turn yourself loose on the world. Bye-bye.